Welcome back to Statistics Made Simple, and I am Savita Balsang. In this video, I am introducing a new chapter called Statistical Inference. This is a very important chapter wherein I will discuss about terminologies and estimation theory. The terminologies which I am going to explain now are usually 1 and 2 markers and are important, and they form the basis for the chapter Statistical Inference. The first one is population. Most of you know how to define a population. It is an aggregate of units or objects under consideration in any statistical investigation. Next is the sample. While conducting a statistical investigation, if the population is large, it may not be possible to collect information from each and every unit in the population. So in this case, we choose a finite subset of the population, which is called as the sample. An important note is that the units in the sample should possess all the characteristics of the units in the population. For example, suppose I choose the second SEBA B class as a population, then I have to choose a sample of say 10 students or 25 students only from that class, and I cannot choose a sample from any other class. Third is an important definition, which is the random sample. So the units in the sample are selected by assigning equal probability to every unit in the population, then the sample is called as a random sample. For example, suppose I take the second SEBA A class as a population, and if this class say has 100 students, then the probability of each student being selected will be the same, which is 1 divided by 100. So from such a population, if I select a sample, then that sample is called as the random sample, because all the units in the sample are selected by assigning equal probability to every unit in the population. The next two definitions are again very important, that is about the parameter and statistic. So what is a parameter? Statistical constants of the population are called parameters. Now what do we understand by the term statistical constants? So statistical constants can be either say the measures of central tendency, the measures of dispersion. It can be like correlation coefficient, regression coefficient. So if I have a population, and from that population, if I calculate say the arithmetic mean or the range or quartile deviation or standard deviation, geometric mean, harmonic mean, correlation coefficient, regression coefficient, any kind of calculations which I make using the data which is there in the population, that is called as the parameter. So now there are some important examples which you should never forget about the parameters. The first one is mu. All of you know the notation for mu. We have learnt it under the normal distribution topic, where the mean of the normal distribution is denoted by mu. So remember that mu is the population mean, and it is an example for the parameter. Similarly, sigma square is the population variance and sigma is the population standard deviation. So these you can never forget under the chapter statistical inference. Similarly, statistical constants of the sample are called as statistics. So now, if I have a sample, and from this sample, if I calculate again any measure of central tendency like the arithmetic mean, median, mode, geometric mean, harmonic mean, or if I calculate some measures of dispersion like range, quartile deviation, mean deviation, standard deviation, or again the correlation coefficient, regression coefficient, then it constitutes what is called as a statistic. Now let us learn how the sample mean, the sample variance, and the sample standard deviation are denoted. So x bar is called as the sample mean. Then s square, please note that it is small s. It is called as the sample variance, and small s is the sample standard deviation. As an example, suppose we calculate the mean income of all the residents of a particular colony. So when we say the mean income of all residents of a particular colony, so the particular colony becomes a population, and the mean of the population is going to be denoted by mu. This would be a parameter. And the mean income of 20 randomly selected residents from this colony, so 20 randomly selected residents from the colony would be a sample. Okay. And if I calculate the mean of 20 people who are there in this sample, then that mean is a statistic which is denoted by x bar. So it's very important to remember these 6 notations, that mu is the population mean, sigma square is a population variance, sigma is a population standard deviation, and x bar is the sample mean, small s square is a sample variance, and small s is the sample standard deviation. Again, I would like to reiterate that these 6 notations should never be forgotten. I will now define the parameter space. The set of all permissible values of the parameter is called as the parameter space. For example, if we take the binomial distribution, it has two parameters which are n and p, where n stands for the number of trials and it has to be a finite value. And the other parameter is the probability of success, which is p, and it takes values between 0 and 1. For example, if you take the Poisson distribution has only one parameter, which is lambda, and lambda can take a value which is greater than 0. Or if we take the normal distribution has two parameters, which is mu and sigma square, and mu can take any value between minus infinity and infinity, and similarly sigma square, which is the population variance, can take a value which is greater than 0. The next definition is the sample space, the set of all samples of the same size which are drawn from a population is called as the sample space. We have already heard about the word statistical inference at the beginning of this video. Let us learn what do we understand by the term statistical inference. It is a theory of making important decisions regarding the parameters of the population using the concept of sampling and probability theory. So this statistical inference, it has two branches. First is the estimation theory and second is testing of hypothesis. I will now start with the first branch of statistical inference, which is the estimation theory. So before we go into what is actually estimation theory, I will introduce this topic through an example. Now we know that every person wants to make estimates in day-to-day life. For example, even if we want to cross the road, we will first estimate the speed of the approaching vehicle and our own speed. Then, based on the value of the estimate, we take a decision whether to cross the road or not. But in statistics, the term estimation is used in a different sense. Usually, in statistics, we come across many situations where the parameter of the population is unknown and we want to know what is the likely value of the population parameter. So, to explain this concept, I'll take an example. And through this example, I will introduce certain notations which we have already discussed. Suppose there is a horticultural research center which has evolved a hybrid variety of melons, say watermelons, and the center wants to know the mean weight of this variety of melons. Now, if the center wants to find out what is the mean weight of all the melons which are there, then the mean of the population is denoted by mu. And if, for example, in the center there are some 10,000 watermelons which are grown. Now, what should the person do if he wants to find out the mean weight of all watermelons? He has to take each and every watermelon and then he has to find out its weight, then add up all the weights and divide by 10,000. Then he will get what is the mean weight of all watermelons which are there in the center. But this procedure will become very tedious, and usually a sample of melons are randomly chosen and their mean weight is calculated. So, if there are 10,000 watermelons and if the procedure becomes very tedious, then what is done is a sample is chosen from this 10,000 watermelons. For example, say some 5,000 or maybe even lesser, some 2,000 watermelons are chosen, and we find out what is the weight of each of these 2,000 watermelons, add them all up and divide by 2,000. Then I will get the value of the sample mean, which is nothing but x bar. So usually this is what is done. If the population is very large, then to find out the parameter of the population, in this example it is the population mean, what we do is we take a sample and for the sample we calculate the sample mean, and whatever value we get for the sample mean, that is x bar, that itself will be considered as the likely value of the population mean mu. So that is what is done in estimation theory. So note that in this particular example, the sample mean x bar is called as an estimator of the population mean mu. So usually in estimation theory, when we want to find out the unknown parameter, so parameter is always with respect to the population. What we do is we assume that the population is very large and it's going to be very difficult for us to compute the parameter, and so we take a sample and based on the sample we will find out a statistic, and that statistic itself would become the likely value of the unknown population parameter. The previous two slides, I only explained or introduced the concept of estimation theory, but now we will learn the important definitions, and again these definitions can be asked as 1 or 2 markers. First definition is estimation. So the process of proposing a likely value for the unknown population parameter is called as estimation. Second is a estimator. There's a lot of difference between all these terms, so understand the sentences very carefully. A statistic used for the purpose of estimating an unknown parameter is called as an estimator. And an estimate is a specific numerical value of the estimator for a specified sample. So here the term specified sample is very important, because when we choose different samples from the same population, you will see that the statistic value is not going to be the same, it's going to be different. So an estimate, it is a specific numerical value of the estimator for a specified sample. So if some of the terms are missing in the definition, you will not be given any marks. So remember that an estimator is a statistic, like it can be x bar, small s square or small s, whereas an estimate is a numerical value. For example, For a specified sample, suppose the sample mean weight is x bar equal to 560 grams. Now x bar is a statistic, okay, and it is called as an estimator. It's an estimator for what? It is an estimator for the unknown population parameter, which is mu, and the value 560 grams, that is called as an estimate. So observe very carefully that x bar is a statistic, and this statistic becomes an estimator for the unknown population parameter, which is mu, and the numerical value which we have 560 grams, that is called as an estimate. Now explain the different types of estimation. The first one is called as point estimation. So while estimating an unknown parameter, if a single value is proposed as an estimate, then it is called as point estimation. For example, based on the sample mean x bar equal to 560 grams, if we conclude that the population mean mu is also 560 grams, then x bar is a point estimator of mu. But what happens in point estimation is we propose a single value as an estimate for the unknown parameter. But in most situations, the value which you propose is unlikely to be the actual value of the parameter. So what we do is in such cases, we propose a small interval around the point estimate as the likely interval which contains the parameter. So the second type of estimation is interval estimation. So a range or interval based on sample observations within which the unknown parameter lies is called as interval estimation. So they can ask you to differentiate between point estimation and interval estimation for 2 marks. So let us understand what is interval estimation. Now, if a person claims that the mean weight of melons lies in the interval x bar equal to 550 grams and x bar equal to 570 grams, then what does it mean? It means that the population mean mu will lie in this interval 550, 570, which is written within round brackets. The next important term is confidence interval. An interval T1, T2, which is likely to contain the unknown population parameter, is called as the confidence interval. T1 and T2 are called as the confidence limits, and the probability that the confidence interval contains the unknown population parameter is called as the confidence coefficient, and that is denoted by 1 minus alpha. So the symbol for alpha is shown on the screen, and usually alpha is chosen as 5% or 1%. As I have already mentioned that the statistical inference chapter is a very important one. We have learned a few definitions, and in my next video we will learn some more definitions. Please understand all these definitions and learn them thoroughly. Thank you all for watching, and look out for my next video, which is testing of hypothesis part 1.